Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Empowered Pause. I am your host, Rachel Chenoa J. Welcome to Wednesday, July 12th. It's actually a really hot one here in New York right now, so I hope everyone is staying safe and cool and enjoying what little bit of weather they can without getting melted and scorched in the sun, right? So, as usual, before I get into today's topic, I want to give you a little bit of information about the Empowered Pause, which is sponsored by Speak Initiative. Speak is a nonprofit organization, and Speak actually stands for Suicide Prevention Through Empowerment, Action, and Kindness. We are a peer support organization that stands in the gap with people who are experiencing mental health challenges or who have had past suicidal ideations. Our mission is to reduce the stigma around mental health and suicide, excuse me, in the Black community by allowing our partners to speak, be heard, and live fully. So we launched the Empowered Pause last June. So we're basically celebrating our 1 year anniversary. And we launched to basically hold virtual weekly space for anyone who may need a brief midweek pause. Here, we can connect, stop, and recharge with encouragement, empowerment, grace, and gratitude each week. Our goal is to share information, experiences, and ideas around journeying through this life empowered and equipped to live healthy and fully, right? So, in our new season, like I said, we just celebrated a year with the Empowered Pause. We began last week with the topic, Don't Be Afraid to Reset, right? And we explored resetting as starting anew or adjusting. So, when I think about that, I think about how it looks and I envision a clean slate, right? Like the eraser board, the chalkboard that we may have had when we were younger in school, and the teacher or the professor writes on that chalkboard, and then you erase it all. That's the slate, erasing everything as if it didn't exist. Not that it didn't exist really, but um, not considering the past actions or the past result, right? So the expression clean slate describes a state in which you are starting an activity or a process again, not considering what has happened in the past at all. The ability to restart without taking in the past sounds like a simple act. However, we are human and we know that a lot of us have the tendency to lean into suffering, and it may not be intentional. Even if we don't want to do it, it's something about the human makeup that um, we remember. Our memories do provide us with information. They provide us with revelation to the experiences that we had, but they can also remind us of the moment that we were in. So suffering can involve remembering hurts, mistakes, errors of judgment, loss, and in that memory, reliving that unpleasant event of feelings um, that can come with it, right? So, however, we can start with a clean slate, and that gives us permission to acknowledge the past, but not to live in it. It can be a practice to remember, but not punish and predict based on past outcome. Of course, because of our intellect, we recall, we process, we relive on a regular basis. And it's not always easy to make it through when something is drastic occurs in your life. And it could be a major a disruption. It can be loss of a job or income or security, loss of friendships or relationships, disagreements in general. Any aspect of life can be construed as as a disruption, depending on how it has affected you. As people are saying recently, life be lifing sometimes, right? So I'm not saying the thought process is easy to attain. It's not like you get up in the morning and you say, you know what, I'm starting with a clean slate. Everything in the past is the past and it's done. That's not exactly how it works, but it's something that is worth the practice. We can practice ways to clear and heal our minds and our hearts and past hurts or pains by practicing meditation, breath work, seeking professional support, using physical activity as a way to heal your mind and your body. And you can use healthy self talk as well. You are the writer of your own narrative. So it depends on what speaks to you as to how you speak to the things that have happened to you. Now, I'm not saying to avoid things and act as if life hasn't happened, because what happens when you're not able to wipe that slate totally clean, right? It's not like we can erase our past. We cannot erase anything that has happened because that is a part of us. But that is something that I'm not making light of, that it may be a difficult thing to do, right? Say, for instance, you are in a great friendship, for you've known this person for maybe all of your childhood into your adulthood, and now that person is no longer in your life for whatever reason. It's not as if you can just get up in the morning and say, you know what, that's the past now. I'm going to start with a clean slate. I don't hurt. I don't miss the person. I don't think about them. That is not realistic. The reality of the situation is you do not have to dwell in the past. Yes, we can miss the person, but we do not have to hold on to the things that won't allow us to move forward, right? So I don't want to erase experiences, right? But after I've worked and I've had a lot of insight with myself, I know that all of those experiences shape me into who I am, right? But we don't always have the option to start over. We don't always want to start over either. We don't always want to have that clean slate. But it is a technique that we can use to not live in the pain of certain things or disruptions that have come into our spaces. We have the ability to decide how we're going to show up daily. It can be a choice to reset, to reimagine, to face forward. But whatever the action taken, remind yourself to be mindful of those thoughts during those challenging moments, right? Um, we can actually reset. There are some times where you're not able to actually take the time and say, I need to start over with a clean slate. You may be in your job. You may have had challenges in your position, and it can be that your manager, your boss, your team, whoever you working with or accountable to may not be content, right? You can show up on a Friday and say, you know what, from this day forward, I'm going to do better. It doesn't totally erase what has happened, but it does give you another insight or better insight to do better going forward. So that's the concept of clean slate, not to negate who we are and what has happened to us, but not to allow it to live on us and in us so much to the point where it deters us from going forward, right? So we can reset, we can begin again with a clean slate, but we can also give ourselves grace to feel, heal, and grow through those challenging moments. If it's a moment that you have no choice but to face forward and face and go through it, then by all means, there are things that we can do to make sure you're safe and make sure you're still okay while you're facing forward and going through it. Every situation does not allow us to wipe the slate clean. However, we are the writers of our own destiny. We can choose to show up in different ways when life happens, right? So last week I said, don't be afraid to reset. This week I'm just offering, we can start out with a clean slate. We can start anew. And don't let the past responses or the past reactions dictate how you move forward, period. Okay, so that's my brief message for today. I hope that it spoke to you or to someone who you may know. As always, please react, comment, share this episode of The Empowered Pause. Visit our YouTube channel, rewatch this episode, watch last week's episode so you can put them together. And any of the earlier episodes that we've had. Again, we've been broadcasting now for a year. So there are a number of great episodes of The Empowered Pause on YouTube and Facebook that you can look back on. Another announcement that I would like to make is that we are continuing Speakers with Sneakers, which is our walking program where we meet every Saturday morning, weather and air quality allowing. And we actually take time to just get exercise in, to speak about most likely the topic for the week for the Empowered Pause. And that flyer can be found on all of our social media platforms, and you can register on our website as well. If you're available tomorrow, please join us at the Bronx Defenders annual block party. And that flyer will be up as well from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. here in the Bronx, New York, East 160th Street. The information will be on the flyer that will be posted after this live. Thank you for watching. Until next time, take care.